Good morning. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. This is Bitcoin. We came from 65,500 and it is selling off a little bit here. So some people believe there's a big move around the corner. So we'll just keep our eyes open for that. Let us go over to our word of the day. Our word of the day is Oxfordian, relating to or denoting the theory that Edward de Vere, Earl of Oxford, wrote the plays attributed to Shakespeare. The Oxfordian lecturer proposed that everything we thought about Shakespeare was false. So that is our word of the day. Going over to our S&P 500. People are waiting for a speech from the Federal Reserve, so not much is happening, although energy is ticking up. We got some shippers that are kind of moving today. FedEx is bouncing, UPS, and down here CTAS, Specialty Business Services. Cintas is moving up. Meta, that is kind of the news there. We're talking about a soft landing. We'll just have to wait and see how October rolls out. Could be some volatility, but here we go. If you spent a lifetime building up your wealth, you don't want to turn into a 201k from a 401k like what happened in 2008. This is a good place to place your money. They're offering bonuses anywhere from 10 to 45%, and goes up the step, and beats index investing by about 5% per year. And this is average index growth, moves and bobs and weaves with the market. So this only goes up when the market goes up, does not go down when the market goes down. So let us go over to our charts here. I show this one in. Here we go. So this is a comparison MicroStrategy to BitX. They were kind of, BitX was ahead over here, and so it has now started to outperform. So just wanted to show that chart there. And let us go over to our other charts. AMSC, we have gotten into this one. Let's see what it's doing this morning. Got a little pop-up there. FUTU position right over here. And I wish we had it add a little more, but that is the story with FUTU. Let us go to our dollar index. Dollar index is up a little bit, up 0.21%. Silver pulling back below the 10-day moving average. Got a gap down here on the move on the dollar. Gold pulling back to the 10-day as well. Copper is gapping down. Take a look at uranium. It's got a little bit of a pullback. Denison Mines is our favorite go-to. It's pulling back as well. Looks like a cup with a hill formation. We'll just see if it can get above the 200-day moving average. Let's take a look at Arrow. It's pulling back. FCX. And so kind of trying to fill the gap, it looks like. Southern Copper and Tech are all pulling back. Tech looks a little better than the others. So let us go over to our bond yields. 10-year bond yield is bouncing a little bit, up 0.75%, 3.78% interest. 20-year is at 2.97. It's up 0.71%. The VIX is actually pulling back a little bit, down 3.77. S&P 500 remaining pretty stable, pretty flat for the day. RSP, which is looking, the equal weight is actually looking stronger than the S&P. It's just pulling back about 0.13%. The NASDAQ, pretty flat as well. The equal weight on the NASDAQ pulling back, similar to the S&P equal weight, S&P 500. No, the IWM, I should say, I misspoke. starting to look a little stronger. It's up 0.28%. The Dow Jones. Take a look at some of our subsectors. Financials right along the moving average line. Communication should be up today with Meta. It is. Real estate sold off to the 20-day, getting a little bit of a bounce. Utilities continues up strong. Biotech holding right around along the moving averages on both of those. Pull back on semiconductors a little bit. Technology, a little bit of a pullback bounce off of the 10-day moving average. Software, pretty flat. Consumer discretionary, or Tesla and Amazon are pulling back slightly. Tesla still holding up pretty strong. This looks slightly bullish right here. Amazon is pulling back to the 20-day. Look at it. Infrastructure. XLP. Consumer staples. Right along the two moving averages there. Healthcare. I was looking for insurance there. I had the wrong symbol. Here's insurance, got a bounce off of its 20-day moving average. Transportation's getting a little bit of bounce. It's like XPO. Tried to move higher and then pull back right in the middle of the range right now. Take a look at FedEx. Getting a little bit of a bounce after that big sell-off. Regional banks. Get a little bit of a bounce. Have a look at jets for a while. Pulling back out of the leisure activities. Got a big bounce there. I believe it's CCL Carnival as their earnings today. They have been all over the place. And home builders, they're up slightly for the day. So let me go over to our news of the day. Asheville, North Carolina is underwater. State residents are trapped in their homes without power or food. Many roads are closed even to rescue crews. Cell phone outages, finding survivors more difficult. The State Department of Transportation posted on X more than 400 roads were shut as of Saturday, saying all roads in Western North Carolina should be considered closed. That is simply amazing. Israel struck power plants and seaport in Yemen yesterday after the Houthi rebel launched two ballistic missiles at Tel Aviv in recent days as the Israeli military continued an air campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Strikes in Yemen targeted the port city of Hodeida as well as Ras Isa. The Israeli military said relied on dozens of aircrafts, including jet fighters and refueling planes, to hit targets over 1,100 miles from Israel's border. Japan's industrial output declined more than expected in August, as industrial output fell 3.3% in August from the previous month, compared to a 0.9% decline expected in the poll of economists and July's 3.1% increase. China's manufacturing PMI 49.8 versus 49.4 estimate, and non-manufacturing PMI 50 versus 50.4 estimate. So on to our sector news. First up is, I guess we did move our cursor over. First up is Stellantis. They tumble 14% in auto industry as the owner of Chrysler Jeep and Fiat warns about lower than expected profits, citing higher costs to overhaul U.S. businesses. China competition on electric vehicles and worsening trends in the auto industry. Stellantis joins rivals BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen, which all lowered guidance last week. Stellantis said it was dropping expectations for positive free cash flow and now expected to burn through 5 billion and 10 billion euros, which watch shares of GM, Ford, and other automakers. So we bring those up. They're dropping as well. On to NEO. Shares in China. Shares rise 10% pre-market after unveiling a cash injection of 13.3 billion won or $1.9 billion from existing shareholders. And it's on its low of the day, gapped up and then has sold off. On to energy, industrial, and materials. Boeing and Machinists Union haven't made any progress in recent talks to end labor strike Friday night. Adjust our news a little bit. There's a lot of news here. The two sides have broken off talks, a little progress, and we have no further dates scheduling at the time. In solar, U.S. officials this week may impose new tariffs on solar panels from 4 Southeast Asian nations that American manufacturers have complained employ unfair subsidies that make U.S. products uncompetitive. The announcement is due on Tuesday, as 2 preliminary decisions from the Commerce Department will make this year's trade case brought against Korea's Hanwha Q-Cells, First Solar, and several smaller companies seeking to protect billions of dollars in investments in U.S. solar production. First Solar is down 1.5% today. Watch railroads, CSX, NSC, Union Pacific, as well as freight and logistic companies, JBHT. We just have a few of these. Wern, working on a base. Knight Swift Transport, it's like it's on the higher end of this base. ODFL. As dock workers strike, threatening to close ports of the East and Gulf Coast beginning this week, 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association have threatened to strike this week, which could shut down 36 ports from Maine, Texas, that handle about half the goods shipped into and out of the United States. The union is demanding significantly higher wages and total ban on automation of cranes, gates, and moving containers in the loading and unloading of freight. So we'll continue to watch that. Industrial metal stocks, Rio, BHP, Vale. We looked at FCX earlier. This Alcoa. After major Chinese cities loosen home curbs as China's stock markets rally again in stimulus measures. On to financials. Shares of Chinese property developers rallied on Monday after major cities in mainland China unveiled easing measures to boost homebuyer sentiment following the central bank's blitz of policy stimulus. The Guangzhou city government said in a notice on Sunday that all restrictions on home purchases will be removed effective Monday. So on to healthcare. Hedge fund Glenview Capital has taken a large position in CVS, pushing for changes in the healthcare company, which has seen its shares fall 24% this year to date. Could this be breaking out of a bottoming base? Might be something to put on your watch list. So that is the story there. Roche confirmed a move to trim its pipeline and narrow its focus and push to fast-track entry into the weight loss drug market. It's outlined its new pharmaceutical strategy through 2030 and said it narrowed the set of disease areas it targets to 11, including obesity, confirming a report from the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday. AT&T and Technology, Media, and Telecom said it has agreed to sell its controlling stake in DirecTV Entertainment Holdings, LLC, to private equity firm TPG Incorporated for $7.6 billion in cash payments from DirecTV and TPG through 2029. Under the terms of the deal, AT&T will receive initial payment of $2 billion in 2025 and additional payments totaling $500 million in 2029. DirecTV is in advanced talks to acquire satellite rival Dish, which is people familiar with the matter said that a deal could create one of the country's largest pay TV distributors. So Dish must be under satellite, I guess, according to this news report. Rapid7 shares rose late Friday after shareholder China Partners filed a 13D showing an increased stake in the company as it continues to push the cybersecurity software provider to pursue a sale. So we got a continuation here. Let's see if this is a bottoming base breakout as it clears this area. Definitely, I guess you could have bought on Friday and continued your profits today. So continuing on, Verizon Communications is in advanced talks to sell thousands of mobile phone towers to digital infrastructure firm Vertical Bridge. Bloomberg News reported on Monday, citing people familiar with the matter. Verizon Communications is in advanced talks to sell thousands of mobile phone towers to digital infrastructure firm Vertical Bridge. Vodafone and 3 antitrust regulators. They'll keep £10 per month plan available for 2 years if the companies are allowed to merge in the UK. Vodafone shares fell slightly, 0.69%. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom has vetoed a controversial artificial intelligence safety bill that pitted some of the biggest tech companies against prominent scientists who developed the technology. The Democrat decided to reject the measure because it applies only to the biggest and most expensive AI models and doesn't consider whether they are deployed in high-risk situations, he said in a veto message. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. So let us take a look at FUTU. It is up slightly, bouncing off of the 10-day moving average. Let's go over to what is up 10% on 200% increase in volume. There's 2 companies. We looked at FUTU earlier. We do have stake in FUTU, so we'll just see if that continues higher. Got into the profit zone, had a little bit of sales. Jinko Solar is gapping up, getting above the 200-day moving average. Chinese manufacturer of silicon wafers, solar cells, etc. We could jump to the 5%. There's 12 items here. Strategic Security looked like a consolidation and had hit the profit zone, pulled back to its 20-day, and today it is bouncing off the 20-day. Central Pacific Financial looks like an ascending base here as it just rides along the 20-day moving average. It's bouncing strongly up to 20 today. Finwise Bank Corp looks like it's moving up strongly into the profit zone. ICUI Medical gapping up close to 6%. Volume is pretty muted down here. IPX, Hyperion, It's ADR engaged in exploration and development of metals and mineral properties. Had a little tight area right here, and it has definitely cleared that area. Let me just adjust the screen a little bit. Oruka Therapeutics is up a little over 7%. You could hardly guess it with this kind of chart, as it has sold off quite a bit. We'll just have to continue to watch that. Looks like the relative strength rating is 96, but you really want to follow the relative strength line, and the 50-day moving average has moved over. All of them are kind of hooking down, so maybe something you want to put on your watch list. ZCAR Intelligent ADR, China-based company, develops and offers next generation premium BEV driven solutions. So that is the story. That one. Let us just go to see what we're working on. Get over to, we've had a little bit of a sell-off here today in some of our technology. BitX is down as crypto kind of corrects. We got a gap down to the 50-day moving average, and BitX, glad we have sold the covered calls. Dave tried to move higher and is selling off, pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Kava pulling back to the 20-day. We did do a covered call at 130 on this one. ACGL pulls back below the 20-day, gets some support and bounces back to 20-day. Astera Labs pulls back less than 1%. So I'll just see if it kind of goes sideways until the 10-day kind of catches up with it. Right here. Oh, NVIDIA holding pretty steady right there. We took an early entry into NVIDIA. Reddit, we thought that this could kind of handle out after this big move up here. We'll see if it moves back to the 10-day. We did put an option on UTHR, spread option 130. Hard to read this. It looks like 360, 370 was a spread on this one. I'll just see that kind of works out. Guardian Health. It's just kind of holding steady right here. We've got an option on that 2250 to 27. Moving on to lower. It's up a little bit today, up a 0.5%, trading pretty tightly between the 10 and 20-day moving averages here. VRT, kind of in the AI infrastructure, working on the right side of the base here. Could possibly be developing a handle here. CRS. Carpenter Technology, still holding steady above the pivot. Natera got a little bit of a bounce. We do have a covered call at 130. So we'll see if it gets close to that. AMSC had a nice little bounce today after back to the 50-day. And finally, FUTU. On one of the other accounts that we have, we got out of Costco right before the earnings. And then we added it back last week. It's kind of holding steady. And we added a little bit of Southwest Airlines. This continues to perform well. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Hope everybody has a great week, and we'll catch you back here on Talk Out Tuesday.